as they walk out. Let's talk about these guys a little bit. Animo, obviously a great main support, but it's really going to be like you talked about some of those new DPS pickups. Nene and Flower. Flower exciting to me because this is a guy that appeared in some of the earliest frag videos, the earliest highlight videos in Overwatch over in Korea. Way back in beta, this guy was hitting crazy shots. And so him and Nene being added to this team is going to be amazing. I think these guys are going to have a stellar year.
Yeah, and the new face here for fans who watched last season is going to be Nene.
Right.
He is likely to be playing the Zarya role. He has been playing the triple tank, triple support composition in North American contenders. So he is going to be well-versed coming in at that Zarya position. And it's about whether Libero is going to be as proficient on the Brigitte and whether this team, we saw London playing earlier, didn't look amazing playing, 3-3. Will New York have adapted better coming into the start of the league?
That's true. Speaking of adaptation, a team with so much strength, so much potential, but a team that needs to adapt to their roster right now. Your team that was undefeated in the regular stage in stage 3, it's the Boston Uprising. There they are, Alamau coming all the way from Brazil, one of the new additions to the roster. But overall, again, a team, like you said, that's going to have to kind of play on their toes a little bit today. Going to have to juggle the roles a little bit more because of Gamsu being traded, because of Colorhex being out for this match. We're going to see some interesting stuff, but man, there's a lot of talent on this roster.
Yeah, there is, and we have to take a look at Axiom coming up from the contender scene, but he is typically a main tank player that is going to be filling in a DPS role for today. Fusions just arrived here in Los Angeles a few days ago, so there's some quick adjustments that have to be made. I do love the Alamau pickup though, because this guy on Team Brazil in the Overwatch World Cup was spectacular on Lucio. Certainly, I think one of the best support players we saw overall in the competition, who is a relative unknown coming in to the stage here in Los Angeles.
That's right, and our maps today presented by Toyota. Let's check him out. Of course, it's going to be that 4-map set, starting out with Nepal, going to Nambani after that. Horizon will be our assault map, and Route 60 will finish things off. And I think it's going to be a pretty good series. I like starting with control. I like starting with the crazy aggro, the crazy battles, the fighting. It's my kind of thing.
Well, there should be some interesting compositions on Nepal too, especially if we get to see Shrine. Shrine is a map right now where you are going to see quite a few of these triple quad DPS compositions. And when we close with Route 66, especially that point A, we're likely to see them as well. And guess what? We get our wish. Shrine is going to be straight off and straight into a pause, so we'll wait for that one.
Well, hopefully we don't have to wait too long, man. Like I said, I'm ready to get things started. The thing is, this is our first match back at the Overwatch League. We've been waiting a long time to get back on stage. It's always good to kind of end the break. What did you do over your summer vacation?
I streamed some. I watched some contenders. Watched some Overwatch World Cup.
Cool.
Yeah.
I started a Game of Thrones doo-wop a cappella group, actually.
Oh yeah, what is it called?
So you want to hear our first song? I searched Westeros all across the land. I found my girl. It turns out we were related. I better stop there, actually. That's a place I should
That's
probably
horrifying.
end it. Yeah, we're still working on that one. First album dropping soon.
Who else is in your acapella group?
It's pretty much just me. I only sing the bass parts.
Okay, but you do that thing. You do that thing on YouTube where you actually sing all the parts, right?
No, it's only the bass line.
Okay, I got
the whole thing. Just bass, yeah. Album dropping soon. Like
I'm sure you're gonna break. You're gonna break out soon. Breakout star here.
That's right. And we're back, guys. And we're back in the map too. What do you know? New York Excelsior getting ready to pour out of that launch ship, which must have a really great fuel system to stay hovering for that long. I mean, that is impressive. That is the future right there. But here we go. NYXL versus Boston Uprising, getting things started. We're going to Village first, not Shrine.
Oh, unlucky.
Yeah.
Oh, Shrine.
Oh, it is Shrine. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, so we are going to come in. Meko is going to be playing the Sombra immediately, so a little bit of a modification here off of the 3-3. Unfortunately, not going to see those triple and quad DPS and a lot of poke to start things off.
Yeah, of course on board with JJONAK for a second there, just kind of throwing those orbs, and they're trying to find that chip damage. Meko in the back on that Sombra right now. He does get the D-Mech on the note. JJONAK actually getting the finishing blow on that one. Oh, Nene back on board with him. New York kind of biding their time around it, but as they try to dive in, we'll see if they can actually take this payload. Boston nearly fifth right now. New York on the periphery here, trying to find an angle in, but yeah, they may have to just give this one up for a little bit.
Yeah.
Time to regroup, I'd say.
Yeah, it looked really good when they got the hack off onto Note to start the fight, because that eliminated the defense matrix advantage that Boston Uprising was running with, but they can't actually push the point afterwards. Boston closes ranks and doesn't give them any angle.
I guess if they could do something with Meko's EMPs. Nearly got that ultimate built up right now. He's got it right now. Can they go into it? Sneaking around the outside, going stealth, trying to find an angle. That pillar makes it tough sometimes. They have too many people. Going in. There it is. Good one on the tank there. Fusion's down immediately. JJONAK finishing him, and now New York Excelsior charging forward, trying to take this one with ease. That was a great EMP by Meko to start that off.
It was a great EMP, but look at what Boston Uprising got. 40% on the point when arguably they should have lost that fight in the first place.
Yeah.
And they had to invest in EMP for it. Not exactly ideal if you are on the XL. Finally, they're going to get their percent on the point starting to tick up, and they come in with 5 ults
That's
ready to go.
If you look at NYXL, they were able to do that and still maintain a lot of ultimates on their side too, so at least they're well equipped to defend this. We go try to go in, can use that rally a little bit early on both sides here. JJONAK finding some of that transcendence. There's the grab, waiting for a nice shot on the aim. Got her. That thanks to the headshot. Sounds so beautiful to hear. Fusion's going in, he's on his own. He's out. And New York defending that. They even saved both of their support ultimates. That is crucial.
Yeah, and they forced out the sound barrier from Alamo, so they're going to be feeling really good. Notice that Note is still so low on that ult percentage because he did get hacked and demeched in that first fight. And that really throws Boston for a loop because they want to be able to use the Graviton Surge and Self-Destruct combination to clear the point as soon as possible.
Right, if you're going to use that D.Va, you need to be able to use the ult combo. Meanwhile, the ultimate pretty much always up for that Sombra on the other side. It builds so fast. Boston trying to find another way in, dropping down from the high ground here. Fusions, he's looked a little bit over aggro so far. He's going in now, though. Gets low, gets saved by the Transcendence from Aim God coming out now. JJONAK responds in kind. There's the grab now from Boston. Can they capitalize on it? Not quite. Sound barrier comes down. Self-destruct does find JJONAK. They finally got that kill, and that was a really nice shatter from Fusions. That's the fight that Boston needed. They're going to take this point.
And that's the Fusions we saw in the Overwatch World Cup.
Absolutely.
Very patient, calculated with those shatters, ends up cleaning up the fight. Finally, Boston is able to charge up that self-destruct, and that's what turns the fight around. After we see Axiom throw that Graviton Surge into the wall, they're going to get some percent. It's been a bit sloppy on both sides so far.
Hey, it's day one. It's day one.
It is day one.
We're all shaking off the rust across like every part of it, you know? That's how it goes.
So Nene here already a 50% charge coming into this, and he's got the Graviton ready. So they're going to be able to charge right in. Blase pretty far forward right there.
Yeah, getting a bit aggressive here, but they might be able to make it pay off. Mano very, very low. He does drop the shatter, and he's going to be able to use that to give his healers enough time to keep him up, and that's going to be NYXL stopping that fight. And they're 81% already, man. Boston Uprising, they're sweating now. Only the Transcendence on that side.
And guess what? Note is demeched again. They are not eliminating the Mini D.Va, and he's going to have to jump all the way back. That is such a late elimination there onto the Mini D.Va. And now they're going to have to fight at 99.
Yeah, you got to do something. You got to go in short-handed. There's the Graviton Surge to keep everybody out of it. They get a couple kills off it. Alamo dropping a little bit low, but he stays alive. Meanwhile, Fusions just wading in, counting on that healing, counting on the Zarya shields to keep him alive. We're into overtime now. It's taking Meko down. It's 5v6. There's a sound barrier to prop up Boston as they come in. Another big shatter. They do trap Nene. He's down to the charge. Mano comes back with a kill on the Fusion. Oh, and there's another shadow coming in from the other side. Shatter, rather. Boston, though, holding on. JJONAK can't quite make the big plays, and Boston, they're on the verge of flipping this one.
They are on the verge of flipping it, and Mano should not have used his shatter there. Was, as you said, eliminated during the animation. They could just wait, come back with the EMP and 2 support ults and mop this fight up. Graviton Surge from Nene didn't do any work in that fight. That gave Boston an opportunity to charge back in. Grab self-destruct up for the Uprising. They've still got a shot at this.
This worked last time. Same exact play that got them the point in the first place, and he gets just so many with the EMP. They need to capitalize on it, though, again. Transcendence coming in from JJONAK. They got to move forward. They got the Reinhardt. That's a main tank out of the way. In fact, the Zarya down as well. New York Excelsior in prime position to win this fight and perhaps take this round. Got to dodge that self-destruct first. They've got the Ryan shield up just in time. Now that annoying Lucio bouncing around, man, but he's going to bounce right out of this mortal coil, I think. New York flips the point back again. Gives a couple of Boston players a bit close, but it's not enough. New York will take round one here on the ball.
99 to 100, little bit close there in the end, but
Very
Excelsior delivered with that EMP.
Yeah.
They knew the combo was there of the Graviton Surge and the Self-Destruct coming in from Boston, and they denied them the opportunity to use that. That meant that that Graviton Surge did basically nothing in that fight. As you can see, it gets thrown out at the bottom of the stairs, but there's the EMP. Note, getting hacked is the key. So the Graviton goes out. There's not enough damage from the Zarya, especially, obviously, through that Transcendence to do anything, and New York had the number. And this is a practice strat. They anticipated Boston playing the 3-3.
Right.
They gave up the Diva, which a lot of teams don't want to do. But if you can control the other Diva with the hack, then you're golden.
Make sure you guys check out the All Access Pass as well, man. We got player point of views this season. It is so sick. If I wasn't casting, I'd be watching it right now. Meanwhile, we go on to Sanctum. At the moment, Mano finds Fusion on the outside. Needs to get a little bit of protection, though. Just muscling his way in there. Man, what a bully. Mano on that Winston, but he's so good at knowing when to pull out, too. That's the thing about this guy. He doesn't take chances that you'd see other Winstons go for and get punished for. Here we go. Oh, Libero in a lot of trouble. Angon finishes him off. And now Boston jumping all over New York, able to separate that Brigitte a little bit from the other team, and that was their undoing.
And in this composition, it is about the death ball, and you cannot get split off from the rest of your team. When Boston saw that Libero was off on the side and unable, they speed boost in, attack the rest of the team in that 6 versus 5, and that's where the picks start coming in for the Boston Uprising, and they're going to get the first percent just like they did on our last point.
Here we go. Get that ball. New York trying to roll their way in there. It's going to be the rally meanwhile. Giving a bit of extra armor to Boston as they try to repel this one. Looks like New York forced back. They can just wait out that rally. That's what they're going to do. Yeah,
they don't pop the trance and try and re-engage immediately. They are just waiting the rally armor.
Going in now. Ooh, I don't know. That looked a little bit scattered, and now Fusion's going in with the Primal Raid. Nearly fought this up. Okay, there's a grab now from New York. And Nene manages to take down all of them. JJONAK bolts across the, actually Aimgod bolts across the pit there to get back up to the point. Meanwhile, taken out by Mono. I don't know. Double self-destruct, no kills out of that one. New York still on the outside looking in, but they may have found an opportunity now to finish off this fight and take the point.
They are winning the battle very slowly, pushing Blase off now. Mono, they need to get rid of these tanks though. Fusions finally falls.
That was a really tricky move by Note to just kind of hover above it and just kind of be annoying while New York trying to take the point. They just now took it. 64% for Boston. Really nice first hold here on Sanctum.
Yeah, it looks like Boston Uprising a bit over-eager coming into that engagement. A lot of ultimates were burned with very little value, and New York patiently waits them out before they throw in that Graviton Surge, and JJONAK picks off the back line.
It's going to be another rally. Rallies for both sides, in fact. New York just trying to keep Boston from crossing through the threshold here, but Mono down already, and they're going to combine that with the Graviton Surge. A couple kills from New York. They're going to bring it right back onto Boston here. Note, a little bit separated from the rest of his team, and that's going to be New York holding again. So they've won their first defensive fight, and that's a nice, nasty stagger on the Note. Oh, the humanity.
And Nene too. I mean,
life is a mini Diva's hard.
Yeah, they were throwing out that Graviton at a player disadvantage, but it doesn't matter. Nene was already charged up. They had all the damage they needed to bust through the Uprising because they came in too early with that sound barrier. They got a pick off of it, but they couldn't get through the choke point. And without that sound barrier, without that support ult, Boston wasn't able to weather the storm of the Zarya damage.
Yeah, pretty much. It happens sometimes. Boston, a couple ultimates of their own coming in. They're going to have to self-destruct fairly soon here. More importantly, the Transcendence going to be out. Mono. And trying to hold off Fusions on the side. He's got the Zarya shield. Then I have to say, way back. Fusions now with the Primal Raid, just trying to clear the point for his team to go in there, but I don't know, it seemed like Boston wasn't ready to go in with him. Now they have to engage here. Mono Primal Raid much later, though. Gonna have that, avoiding that self-destruct. Axiom gets his grab, eaten by Meko, actually. That fake Meko responding too, with a kill onto Alamo with that self-destruct. Now they've got the sound barrier shields as well. New York just controlling this with style. I mean, it hasn't even looked close in these last few fights.
It hasn't, Doa, and New York is adapting the way they're playing, and Boston Uprising, a lot of these are going to be new players to the Overwatch League stage, to this level of competition, and they are just getting their ults baited out by the Excelsior.
That's right. Man, what a start for NYXL. 2-0 on that map. Gotta say, Boston did put up a bit of a fight on some of those points, especially point 1. It did go 99 to 100, but still, the map goes NYXL. Quick break, and we'll be back with map 2 right after this. Welcome back to the Overwatch League. Crowd is packed today. We're all psyched that the league is back for 2019, and I think New York's gonna be pretty psyched about that last map.
Yeah, they look really good, at least playing the 3-3. They even had some very interesting strategies, especially with the Sombra coming in on that shrine point to shut down the Diva. But especially when we saw them in Sanctum, that was a pretty big problem for Boston, because when Boston got an advantage, they couldn't really ever snowball it because New York just played more passively, played more defensively, got the ultimates used from Boston, and then re-engaged and took those victories. So Boston, I think they showed a little bit of nerves. They showed that it's very hard to play against New York because New York adapts so fast in games to what you're doing.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, this is New York Excelsior. These guys are so polished. They've had the whole offseason to work on this stuff. And Boston, again, I think the Boston we're seeing today isn't representative of what the Boston Uprising team is capable of doing this season. So it's only one map, of course, too. But yeah, I mean, I think Boston's going to be solid this year overall.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. There's so many question marks considering the number of players that they've made changes to in New York. You know, they're playing their game. This is the New York Excelsior we're used to seeing, and their comms are so good they can turn on you on a dime.
Welcome to Nimbani. That's right, you're not taking the bus, you're walking to the first point. There's Boston Uprising on attack here, NYXL defending on our assault map here. I'm sorry, on our hybrid map here. It's been a long off season. Here we go, trying to push up through that stairway. It's a dangerous route to go. My ranked games have taught me that.
Well, you play against the Winston, it's a bit easier when you have the Reinhardt.
It is true. They're just going to walk in there behind Fusion Shield, push onto the high ground here. A little bit of harassment from Mano in the back. He's going to drop that shield to keep himself safe. Ooh, the drop down comes in. That was such a fast primal rage. Ridiculous. From Mano, I know. This is what that guy does, though. He doesn't take chances. He gets every single percentage out of everything he does. And yeah, that early of a primal rage, man, I don't know what you do against that. That's sick.
It's really hard. They tried to rush into the back line to take down JJONAK there, and they were successful, but Mano did all of the work in the meantime.
Dude, Blase used his rally there, too. That is an ultimate that I think Boston is going to want back.
Yeah, that's a mistake that's either just a misclick, fat-fingered it, or you got some nerves, thinking your allies are there with you, even though, of course, everybody was already taken out by that point in time. Nene already sitting on that Graviton Surge. Axiom still only at 64%.
Sure enough. Come on, NYXL. Hanging out on the high ground. That's Arya still coming out charge. Nice grab around the corner there, pulling Fusions in. Boston desperately trying to keep away. Finally have to use that Transcendence. Mono down though. New York Excelsior pays for it, and now they're in a little bit of trouble. They gotta fight. We saw that stat. When they lose somebody, they win a lot of fights, but it's still only 1 in 3. Can they get in? They're popping the rally to do so. Getting that extra armor. Oh, and then Fusions with the big shockwave, and now I think that Earthshatter may have paved the way for Boston to take this one. Mono's back. He got the kill on Axiom, but it's still going to be an uphill battle, and I don't think that's one NYXL. Well, maybe they can.
Yeah, they're turning it around, though. They have to reset. It's a 5 versus 3. It's so important to remember that on Numbani, the defense has spawn advantage.
Crazy.
So they're going to be able to get back much faster here on point A, and that means Mono's going to get right back into the mix every single time. Mono dying there at the start to Aim God was a huge problem for them, but with the 3 support ultimates they had, they could weather the storm until their respawns came through.
Back into another rally from Boston. Uprising Fusions gets battered forward, CC'd quite a bit. Mono comes in with the kill onto him. Another Primal Rage, and now Boston in trouble yet again. Fusion split off from the rest of his team. We saw that crowd control come in, and there was just nothing they could do.
You're never going to get through that either. Axiom has the Graviton Surge up, decides wisely to save it for their next engagement, but Nehe's going to be matching him with one of his own.
Libero, check it out, man. Oh, Alamo. There's bad. Grab comes in for Boston. New York, rather. We'll see what they can do with it. Nene gets caught with that self-destruct. Obviously, JJONAK's Transcendence not going to save him there in that case. Fusion's down already, though. There's a right. Mono taken out as well. It's a brawl right now. Libero still sitting on that rally, though. Just delaying as long as he can. But he and JJONAK and Animo, it's the supports. Come on, supportive combat. Show it to me. I don't know if it's going to happen. That's a rough one. Just trying to delay, but the respawns, I don't think they're going to get there fast enough this time. And yeah, that's Boston getting the payload moving.
And that's a rally you're probably going to want back if you are the NYXL. And Libero right there. They carved off the other 2 supports. None of them got the actual armor from the rally itself. Didn't do much of anything. After Fusions won, the mirror engage there with the Graviton Surge and the self-destruct.
Well, it's like you said, you know, you try to delay as a defender long enough for your respawns to come back since they are quite close on this map, but you know, there's a limit to that, right? And New York found it. Animo down early. Note with a kill. In favor of Boston, that's going to help them push through. Point B on Numbani, really not a point you see a lot of defenses be successful on. Definitely favor for the attackers, and that's exactly kind of New York.
They're just
a little bit lackadaisical about the defense there.
Yeah, nothing they can do. I mean, Zarya gets trapped there. No movement ability of her own to escape back towards the spawn. So it ends up just being a trickle of kills into the Boston Uprising.
That's Numbani point B, though. You know, the attackers nearly always finish that one.
Indeed they do. And they're going to try one more defense. Are they actually going to stop the payload? Looks like they will just at the end.
A great pick by JJONAK here. Fusions tries to respond with the Earthshatter here, but he's a little bit of trouble now. Graviton Surge coming in. It's a self-destruct, and that sound barrier comes out just in time for New York to bail them out. Transcendence on the Boston side, keeping them in the fight. They're not done yet, but now the rally. It's a support ultimate fest here from Numbani. Graviton Surge comes in from New York now. Self-destruct, no kills out of it, but New York has pushed Boston back. And crazy enough, they haven't finished, they just barely been able to push it through B.
And that's how you want to play the support ult game in 3-3 Doa. That's what you need to do. As you said, perfect timing on that sound barrier when they saw the self-destruct coming in. So they give themselves more survivability against that ultimate. They had already popped the trance, but they had to use both to stop the combo. They do, and now they have that advantage. As Boston Uprising, only a minute left.
JJONAK pretty close to his Transcendence, whereas Aim God on the other side a long way away from his. So New York going to have some vital tools here in the next fight as Boston starts to run out of time. Fusion super low. Whoa, Fusion was down to like 1. They had to pop the rally to stay him alive before they even got to the payload practically. That's a rough one for Boston.
They still got some of that armor, though, that they can roll up to the payload with as they try and coalesce and push forward.
No, it's a different ultimate, Mon. Moira's not in this map. It's confusing it. And wait for it. Earthshatter comes in. Blase knocked prone. And Mono does go down, but has New York created enough of an opening? Oh, no, with an Earthshatter like that on a Fusion. Boston, man, They brought Fusions up, and it is paying dividends for them. This guy is such a good Reinhardt.
Yeah, Fusions delivering the knockout punch there on point B. Get it through. Only a minute and a half remaining, though, to move it through point C. And look at NYXL. 5 ults on the board right now as they come back. So it bought them a little time and a little bit of distance on this payload. Still a long way to go.
And sure enough, only about a little over a minute left for Boston to push it the rest of the way. And point C on Nimbani is a grueling one. Excelsior with a lot of ultimates in the bank. Spend on each of these fights.
And it needs more charge, though, before they can really do much.
Yeah, well, they're going to go into the grab anyway. No time like the present, as they say. Self-destruct thrown in. No kills out of New York. One, but Note finds one. On to Animo on the Boston side. And got charging in now. Doing what he can, going after his rival. JJONAK on the other side, but Fusions claims the kill. Sound barrier for Boston, trying to seal the deal right now. They say this is where we want to end this map. This is where we want to end this attack round. And New York, I don't think they're going to be able to stop them going in, and that is it. A clean finish on point C by Boston. That was impressive.
It was very cleanly done, and most importantly, it was NYXL not needing to engage there.
Yeah.
You have to remember that in a 3-3 meta, it is so important to have your Zarya charged before you actually engage.
Sure enough, quick break, and we'll be back with the next round. Welcome back to the Overwatch League, NYXL versus Boston Uprising, and welcome back to the second round here on Nimbani, where the sun is as hot and fiery as the action in the streets. That's right.
Does look like a hot day.
It does.
Nimbani.
I'm sure it's very warm. I'm sure Reinhardt has to have some sort of cooling system going on in that armor, man.
We know he doesn't. He
Why?
says all
Do
the
we know
time.
that?
Yeah, he says all the time how he's dying of heat in his arm.
Oh, well, maybe I haven't heard that voice. I only play it in Korean, sorry.
You just don't play Reinhardt. See,
that's true,
That's
actually.
actually
That's
the
the real
only
reason, yeah.
that's the only lore fact I know, though, and I only know it because I play Reinhardt. And
Wow.
Whenever you're on Oasis, he complains about how hot it is.
Guys, I don't know if you can appreciate this like I do. This is the first lore fact that Monty has known about a game that I haven't. Wow. That's impressive, man. NYXL trying to be impressing themselves on their attack here. Got to equalize what Boston did, and on Nimbani, that is not easy sometimes. This is generally a difficult map to finish as far as hybrid ones go. Ooh, and Boston waiting around the corner up in the upper hallway. Mono nearly poked his head in. Deciding to go differently. They're going aggressive with this. Boston
Very nice.
jumping in, trying to get the support kills. They get the one on the Libero right away. And that was a
beautiful.
tricky move. I like that, yeah.
So Boston there, they know that they have that advantage with the players because they saw the D.Va and the Winston split off and try and go around for the high ground. Instead, they just instantly collapse on the members of NYXL, and that is a cute trick to start this map from Boston.
Boston's like, we don't need Sombra to be sneaky, man. We can just be ourselves. Yo, Alamo on high, waiting for those move opportunities as New York comes in right now. A little bit of speed over to his team here. New York has claimed the high ground. They are running mono on that Winston again, so it's a little bit more difficult, is what I'm trying to say. Get up that hallway. Meanwhile, Boston just waiting. They're saying, all right, you can drop down. Be ready for,
JJONAK's just gonna kill somebody.
JJONAK doing things JJONAK does. Right-clicking and wrecking him. Axiom out of the way already. JJONAK a little bit on his own. They're trying to keep him alive. A bit of armor coming in, but it's not enough. Meanwhile, Mono jumping to the back. He's nearly got that Primal Rage. Gonna probably wait out the one on Fusions before he uses it. Either way, yeah, Boston already retreating. I think they're gonna have to give this one up.
And that's how you don't play against the NYXL, Doa. You don't let them take the high ground so they have that advantage, because they'll just sit up there and wait for one of their players to make a play.
And JJONAK will make a play.
And he will make a play.
Yeah.
He will make a play.
That's a fact.
We saw those stats. He's coming in with almost 7.5 kills there per 10 minutes on that Zenyatta. And you can't be positioned in his sightlines. Axiom, of course, a main tank having to off-roll here.
Yeah, it is what it is, but either way, Boston getting aggressive again. They pop that rally early on. NYXL smart, pulling back, letting it go, and then popping their own rally as they re-engage Fusion a little bit low. They keep them alive with the Transcendence. Ultimate and ultimate. There's the Graviton Surge, putting everybody on top the payload. Maybe the self-destruct can get killed. No, it can't. Aim God, meanwhile, down. JJONAK, he doesn't need an ultimate to get killed. Just drag it out, man. JJONAK is back. That's 3 now for the bloodthirsty support. Welcome back, League MVP.
The guy's a freak, Doa. What can you say? The way the team plays around him just enables his style. This is why Mono is the perfect tank for the NYXL, because he peels people off JJONAK so he can just go nuts. And now JJONAK responsible for wins in those first couple of fights.
Yeah. I mean, this guy is so good that he created what's called JJONAK syndrome in the league last year, where other teams would try to get their Zenyatas to play so much like him and support him like him that it actually messed up their own strategies. Like, this guy has had an effect. Nobody else. Another pick on the aim gun from JJONAK. Look at this guy. Lighting up the kill feed like no other Zenyatta can.
And how do you even fight point B now, Noah? You got your tank on the low ground. He's going to get bodied pretty quickly.
Yeah, what do you do? I don't know. Shatter comes out, and they follow it up. Gotta watch out for that self-destruct. Mono is down, so Boston maybe has a shot to do it here. New York has to dedicate that sound barrier, so it looks like they are winning the fight, but they've dedicated a little bit more than they want to. JJONAK with another one, because why not?
Just such a slow roll for them here into point B. They're going to come in with 4.5 minutes almost just to push it to the end. And as you can see, Animo going to be taxiing his Reinhardt forward here using that speed boost. Just get everybody in position for this next push. They've got the Graviton. They have the combo with the self-destruct. Look for that one coming out at the start of this fight.
New York with 4 minutes to go on point C. Compare that to Boston having a little over 1 when they made it to the final point here on Nimbani. New York, ooh, that's an Earth Shadow they might have to worry about. A couple support ultimates coming out from the New York side to keep people alive during it. And now they'll strike back. Fusion's low. Went really far forward, but it looks like they're going to keep him alive for now. He plays with fire, this Fusion's kid. I love it. He's so good, but man, some of those extends have been pretty scary. Meanwhile, Nene looking for a good grab, doesn't want to get it eaten. He's going to toss it in there.
There it goes.
That's right. Self-destruct, and they find the one on Fusions. It's elementary at this point, as Mono gets dropped, but he throws the Earth Shatter in before that here. New York trying to survive the Graviton Surge. They've got JJONAK's Transcendence to do that. There's Sam's Reinhardt, but they're just fighting Boston piece by piece. Fusions over on the Hammond now. Slam dunking his way onto the payload, but he's the one, I think, who might get slammed here. He's got those shields, but they're only going to last so long. New York coming in, and Boston can't quite stagger for very much. That's New York crushing it on offense here on Nimbani.
And Fusions went in for the aggressive share, and he managed to hit the XL Diva. And so it slowed down the combo, but the thing is they didn't get any damage done. They didn't get any eliminations off of it, so it was super easy just for New York to fall back and then slowly shove them off the payload, because they could play aggressively because they knew there wasn't going to be a Graviton coming in from Boston. They knew the Shatter was down. So again, I think a little bit of impatience from the Boston Uprising right there. They didn't get the Shatter they wanted, tried to play a bit too hard for it, and that meant NYXL could just snowball the rest of the point because they had their ults to close.
That's right. So, you want to see the master at work? Well, here you go. It's JJONAK, of course, on Zenyatta. This guy, man, nobody is more accurate. Nobody hits more right-click picks than this guy with that alternate fire. Look at this. Just waltzing his way through here. Bouncing like a gummy bear of death.
And look how close he plays, too. I mean, some of this is cleanup, so of course the Zenyatta is going to walk forward. But in general, you know, float forward.
It doesn't walk,
Excuse me.
We saw that, and it was freaky.
Oh, yeah, we did see that. I forgot.
I love that tweet.
It was freaky.
Somebody find that and retweet that.
But yeah, coming into this, like, he definitely plays more forward than a lot of Zenyatta players do. And you know, credit to his tank line for being able to so consistently have his back and let him do what he does best, which is to wait in close and deal boatloads of damage.
True enough. Boston Uprising on the attack now. Just 1 minute to get as far as they can on this hybrid map. Alamaus scoping out the high ground. Yeah, he sees the Brigida there. Libero poked his face out for just a moment. Boston gonna go that way anyway. Mono, wait for it. He's got the spray on the wall, and he's got the hammer in the faces of Boston Uprising here. As they try to push forward, they're gonna cede that high ground over to Boston for now. New York backing up. Boston needs to be aggressive with this. Their time is so limited. Meko D-Mech, that's a big one. And New York falling apart a little bit here. They lose Mono, and Boston just may have found the push they need to get a bit of distance on this payload. I don't think New York's going to be able to respond with this one. Maybe they can get a few people back to delay, but this is looking real good for Boston.
Great first push there. Confident going in that same attack pattern up the staircase with the Reinhardt. And NYXL, they wanted to play the Reinhardt and mirror them perfectly on defense this time. Falls apart very quickly. They can't get enough damage done as Boston moves through the choke. Now they're playing at an ultimate disadvantage. This could be a great push for the Uprising.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing is a lot of times with that much time, you don't even know if you're going to be able to take point A. Boston instead, they're going to roll it, and they're going to get a lot of push on this payload too. Into overtime now. If they leave the payload, the round is over. And New York knows that.
Rally used proactively here by Blase.
It's going to give him more meters. It's going to give him more distance on that payload as New York waits it out. Good use of that, I'd say. Fusion's waiting around the bus. Wants to find that great Earth Shatter. Here we go. Now New York going in with their own rally off of Libero. Libero gets a kill in the note. Fusion's dropped that Earth Shatter, goes in, gets stunned. Charge versus charge. And now Axiom trying to do all the damage he can. Another Earth Shatter comes through, but they pull him off the payload. They pull them off the payload, and that is going to be where it stops for Boston.
It's a very bizarre engage by the Boston Uprising because Note shot his self-destruct in first, and then what New York did is they speed boosted on top of the Mini Diva and just killed him.
Yeah.
Like, it's so difficult in 3-3 to enter a fight with a self-destruct because of the speed boost and because of how easy it is to move around, and they just pull him off the payload there.
That's the thing. In the end, it's a newcomer Nene's Graviton Surge that seals the deal for New York. It pulls the entire Boston team off the payload, and when you're that far into overtime on these extended pushes, that OT bar expires so fast that, yeah, sometimes all it takes is that one ultimate, and you know, if you're Boston, you really can't do a lot at that point. I mean, you can't escape that.
No, you definitely can't. I'm just curious as to Boston's thought process in some of these engages. Boston, you could tell that you know, their coordination when they have a set play and an idea in their mind is working out pretty well, but sometimes it just seems to fall apart for them here. But they're doing a pretty decent job at playing 3-3 against a strong roster.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, they're not getting rolled by any stretch. I mean, New York has looked dominant, but Boston has certainly challenged them at multiple points during the first two matches. So for a team that's kind of coming together sort of spontaneously in this situation, I'm not disappointed with this so far.
Let's see if we'll stick with this Hanzo here for Nene, and Libero potentially being on an Ana. All right. Curious? Nope. We got excited for no reason.
Well, that's the meta. Pretty much. We saw a Sombra. That's notable. It's like a unicorn right now.
Hey, we had some. There was some solid triple and quad DPS in our last match.
I know. I'm just trying to get on the good side of Reddit. They love it. Here we go. Mono down. Note takes Mono. Know what Mono was doing there. He's decided to go one-man army, I guess. But
that was a miscommunication. The rest of his team was not even in the corridor yet. He was off in the open on the flank. He just got himself blasted.
He likes to fight Mono. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go home, guys. Bye.
Well, now that Jonas isn't here, their only choice is Mono. So
you know, I don't think that's a bad thing for New York, though. Honestly, not too bad. New York trying to come up to the upper hallway yet again.
Decided to switch over.
Yep. Got Mono on that Reinhardt now. Taking the swap at main tank. Just kind of waiting the time. Usually the defense ends up dropping here. And again, the more time that Boston can take off the clock, the better, right? You're just getting low again. He escapes with low health in a lot of these fights here, but his team seems to be really ready for it. Oh, and the fire strike.
Sometimes they just line up for you, and he's got the shatter already.
That's the thing. In that hallway, you get so much charge so fast off of that fire strike. And hey, the odd kill or two, that doesn't hurt either.
This has been so slow for New York to build up their ult bank right now. Boston Off the back of two of those team fights, making it much easier for themselves. Fusions can be aggressive. Worth noting, a note here is in his mini diva form. He's probably getting his back very soon, but there's a window of opportunity for the Excelsior.
Yeah, if New York knows this, and they should, they can try to be a little bit more aggressive. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to run right up the center, trying to take advantage of that back. That note doesn't have that diva back. Shatter comes down, though. Fusions, it's a pretty decent one. Oh, but stun to stun as the charges collide with each other. Blase does go down, and now JJONAK there with the Transcendence to keep them alive. Boston have the same thing. Went for another shatter, didn't get a lot out of that one. Now another sound barrier coming out here. Mono floored, taken out of the map, but Axiom down as well. It's another knockdown, drag-out fight between these two teams on the payload right now. But New York needs to try to finish this one, and they're going to have to regroup.
Yeah, they are.
Crazy.
And right now, it's only Meko that actually escaped with an ultimate intact. Is just going to reset off the map to join the remainder of his team.
Yeah.
Nene, though, with that Graviton Surge coming right up, and Name God's going to need a little bit more time before the Transcendence. So there is an opportunity here for the NYXL to combo their way to a point capture, but then even after that, they've got some distance to go with this payload.
I mean, props to Boston. They've reduced New York to the same amount of time that they had on their attack round. New York gets right out to the point immediately here. They got to take it, and they have to keep pushing the payload. JJONAK down early. Name God getting some revenge for that last round here. Self-destruct coming in, and Meko's the one who claims more victims than that. New York with a real chance here to finally get the payload going. Remember, those defensive respawns do come fast. Animo on the point, trying to fill it up here, but they've got so much time yet to fill. And Blase, a couple kills to finish off. I think Boston's going to hold this one. I think they may just win this map right here.
I mean, JJONAK's coming back on a Tracer. Hammond's going to be in play. This is going to be crazy.
JJONAK trying to stall Nene here on the Hammond rather. On the point right now, New York with one last shot in overtime to try to take this one. The Mono down again. Boston, this defense has been incredible. Now they've got some ultimates to try to prop themselves up. They've got Pop that Transcendence, Libero down New York, losing members. There goes Meko on that Weaver, could not get the damage done. And Boston Uprising, I think they're going to tie up this series, man. New York, only a few people left, and they are not the people you're going to be able to take the point with. Tracer Lucio not doing it, and Boston Uprising will tie this series up. Upgrade from not disappointed to pretty impressed.
I think we should all be upgraded, Doug. Boston did a great job on that hold. Overall, impressive defense coming out from the Uprising. NYXL tried to beat them with those mirror compositions and lost very consistently when they made that decision.
That's right. We're going to go to halftime right after this. Don't go anywhere. This is the Overwatch League.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The score is all tied up 1-1 And we have friends from all over watching, including, give it up for these people, the people that have been working on Overwatch down in Irvine at the Blizzard headquarters. They're having an awesome watch party. Much love to everyone down there tuning in. But back to the action here in the Blizzard Arena. 1-1 series that we're seeing so far between the Boston Uprising. Any Boston fans here tonight? And the New York XL. I'm Puckett. You know my fam. We got Zoe. We've got Semler. And Semler, you and I were just both saying backstage, Boston is here showing us some real stuff.
I'm impressed, Puckett. I mean, Hex made the point going into the show. We weren't quite sure what to expect from Boston, what level. But again, it feels like you're repeating the exact same thing at the beginning of last season. So here we are. Boston, they're still able to excel.
Boston does it whenever we think they can't. Let's take a look back, though, because it wasn't always pretty for Boston. As we started things up, New York Excelsior reminded everybody just how strong this squad is. And as we go watch some of the highlights, you'll see a common name pop up. JJONAK on the Zenyatta.
Yeah, it was not just JJONAK though, because this is what we expected. We expected JJONAK to pop up on that Zenyatta, and that's exactly what he did. But you know who also showed up in that feed very often? Nene.
Yes.
New kid on the block, and he's showing up and performed. Here we see him on his Zarya, and he just straight up outplayed Axiom through the entirety of the first map. He was ahead in literally every single stat you can get as a Zarya.
We'll get back on Nene a little bit later. For now, let's take a look at Numbani here and walk me through this one somewhere, because I thought, all right, New York XL, Numbani, this is where they go up 2-0, right?
Well, they started so strong. JJONAK in particular was a monster. Already, Numbani.
Fusions was a monster here in that one. You saw shatter after shatter. You saw JJONAK coming back in once, as it was New York XL trying to get their way back into this game. New York was able to push this one with a lot of time left on the clock here, Zoe.
Yeah, no, and you know what? They actually managed to come back a little bit towards the end. However, Fusion was the man to look out for. He won their points with shatters left and right throughout the entirety of their attack.
Let's look at some of the numbers here somewhere. What jumps out to you other than almost, oh yeah, again, more damage than healing from JJONAK?
Well, more damage than healing from JJONAK. That's what we expect to see. But we also need to pay attention to the damage amplified number here. This is what really makes JJONAK so powerful. He knows how to maximize his Discord orb. And that also helps the rest of the team pick up kills as well. So we're seeing JJONAK get up a lot of cleanup kills. He's getting a lot of final blows. But he's also setting up his team to excel as well.
I love it. Semler's mic is working. JJONAK's Discord's definitely working. But we don't know what to expect here in the second half. It's all tied up 1-1. If you had to throw any predictions after seeing the teams play 2 games and now seeing that Boston can hang with the NYXL, how does the second half play out? Let's start with you, Zoe.
You know what? I think if Boston can keep it clean like what we saw in the second map, unlike the first map where they burned a lot of ults, there was a lot of mismanagement in that regard. I think if they can keep it clean like that, they have a good chance of going at least to a tie, but NYXL will take it in the end. I'm sorry. It's still NYXL.
Sticking with the original predictions.
Exactly.
Semler, so far today, you're 0 for 1. What happens in the second
stick
half?
with it. Listen, London were a disappointment. NYXL, they're not going to let us down. There we go. They're going to get the job done here.
You heard it from my analysts, guys. They think it's still all NYXL. Any Boston fans disagree with that? A few of them out there.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot. Let's go with the safe bet. I'm still on your side. Plenty more games to go. Remember, this is just match 2 of 4 here on opening day.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
Welcome back to the Overwatch League, everyone. We are all tied up here between NYXL and the Boston Uprising. They said it couldn't be done. Not me. I said maybe it could be done. But no, hasn't been done yet. All tied up, man.
No hot takes for you, Noah.
No, you know me, man. Florida Final Four. Kelix subbing in for Animo.
That is the worst hot take.
Why? Oh, wow. Big
Because
slam on
it's
Florida.
it's so boring.
Okay, fine. We'll see how boring it is later in the season. I'll make you eat those words. Anyway, as you saw on your screen, Kelix subbing in for Animo at the support role for Boston. Now we are going to Lunar Horizon Colony. That's right. We're going to the colony where Winston is from for Assault map. Did you know Winston was from there?
I did.
The only 2 lore facts you knew today. Wow. Have you been studying the lore in the offseason, Monty?
Look, man, I just know Dr. Winston was performing incredibly unethical experiments on self-aware creatures. I think it's pretty messed up.
It is a little bit odd, isn't it? I don't know. First the hamster, then the gorillas. But at least they had a nice little kind of hydroponics facility, right? That's pleasant, isn't it? I don't know. Well, guys, it's our assault map. In case you're unfamiliar, you take point A, and then you take point B, and then your opponents get a chance. Meanwhile, Aim God testing out that grappling hook, but not gonna play the Hammond after all. Of course, he is a support. Here we go. Boston Uprising on the attack. Let's see if New York can hold them off on the assault map. Fusions, wow, that's a lot of shatter stuns. That's a ton.
That's what we've come to expect from him, though. I mean, he was playing at a very high level at the Overwatch World Cup. He was setting up a lot of these shatters.
All right.
You know, it was a little bit of scouting here for the Boston Uprising. Quick switch, wanting to play that Reinhardt.
I think they're going to try to rush up the right side stairway now. New York having to retake the high ground to contest that. Fusion swinging away now as they try to go up the stairs. This is the part that gets tough for the attacking team. They're coming up this narrow choke. No, D-Mac'd already as Boston's queued to back away. Without that Diva, it's going to be really hard to avoid all that damage coming in.
Now's that time where you pitch yourself into the Diva pit out on the side of the moon, though. I know that's your favorite part.
Mato trying to give Nene a little bit more charge on that Zarya. You saw him jump down and then get shielded just to take that damage.
Interesting. They're actually just going to keep note here with the Bunny Blaster, getting the mech back up before they start to engage one more time. So a lot of time being used here.
That is a lot of time. He could have easily made it back and swapped quicker than that. So we'll see if this pays off. He did have 37% on his ultimate, so we'll see if it's worth it. They're going in now. Mato has a primal range. He's going to use it. Oh no! You're going to space! Oh, he's back! Don't try to kill a guy who floats in space. Robots don't need to breathe. Well, Aim God's just fine.
Turns out the primal rage was really bad at the end.
Top 3 air control for sure. That's a Boston thing, guys. That's a deep cut.
That is a deep cut.
That's a deep cut. You might not get that one. Here we go. Boston Uprising with some good ultimates coming into this. They're going to go ahead and drop the rally. Fusion's waiting for another sweet Earth Shatter. Halfway through taking that point right now. NYXL deciding how much they want to dedicate to this. They'll come in and now with the Diva. There's a Transcendence. They've nearly taken it. Francis up both sides. JJONAK holding his. Fusion shot the Earth Shatter. They're in the Graviton too. No kills out of that self-destruct on the New York side. Fusions gets 2 though. 2 kills off of that Reinhardt, making a 3rd. Man, Fusions, what a pickup. I mean, he killed. Holy cow! If you're a Boston fan, you're like, all right, the World Cup is a good thing. We've discovered so many good players through the World Cup. Fusions is just the latest of many, right?
I mean, he killed both of the tanks while he was grabbed there.
Yeah.
So swinging away while the NYXL were walking up on him, and now they've got a chance here at B. Plenty of time.
Super fast point A, man.
Yeah, left for this take, and guess what? It's a grab self-destruct that are ready to go for them.
They've got the combo. Can they execute it properly, though? That's the question. Can't get that grab eaten. Axiom looking for it. You know that Nene's waiting, man. He's got that right click, that defensive matrix ready to go. And that ultimate comes in. We'll see, he's waiting. He's got his eye on Meko, as you can see right there. Boston coming in with the ultimates. Axiom still waiting for the chance. Drops the grab, it goes up. There's the ultimate going in, self-destruct. Can they block it? Fusion's trying to go in with the charge to deny the shield, but it didn't work out. He paid for it with his life. And now New York with a chance to come back in this fight.
And that's another time where New York just sat back and waited for the Boston Uprising to get over eager. No real angle there for the grab self-destruct combo to be successful. NYXL just happy to play the patience game and force the Boston Uprising to make those mistakes.
Sometimes it looks like one of those old kung fu movies, right? Where the teacher is teaching the student, and like the student's trying to hit him, and he's just dodging and patiently waiting out. Soon then he flips him on his back. That's what it looks like to me anyway. I don't know what it looks like to you.
I think it's a good analogy, Dar.
It works, right? New York, gonna have to try to find a way to throw back. Boston Uprising attack a second time. Sound barrier comes in. Neko drops that self-destruct.
Nice bubble.
A lot of damage on that one, but yeah, the bubble keeps Fusions alive. Gets low again, but they bring him back to full health, and he's swinging away. Another Earth Shatter ready to go. Sound barrier used by New York, and when it expires, whoa, he's not gonna get a chance. Bounced around. The crowd control is real for New York. That's another solid defense for Excelsior.
Yeah, but I think if you're Boston Uprising, you're pretty happy about how much New York had to commit into that fight because your combo wasn't effective at all. Great bubble from Axiom to keep Fusions alive. And then you have to commit even more support ults into that engagement. So NYXL, they'll be here with a rally and a trance, but no kill potential really.
Yeah, they've got the delaying tools. They don't really have the team fight right out winning tools. So, Boston with an edge here in the ultimate department. They're going to bring in the rally on Blase, giving that extra armor to his teammates as Fusions waits out an opportunity for that Earth Shatter. He's had so many good ones. That's another one. Drops Libero. And the Templars on it. The ground sound certain came in from New York, so they had to wait on it. Now JJONAK with the Transcendence. Self-destruct round 2 from Note. Note had so many good self-destructs last season. No surprise to see him picking up those kills again in Boston. Is just going to take this attack round. That's it.
And that's why the conclusion of the last fight was so favorable for Boston Uprising. So many tools. That time, they wait out the rally on New York with one of their own. Then they find that opportunity to engage, execute the ult combo, and take out the Excelsior.
Quick break, and we'll be back with round 2. Welcome back to Horizon Lunar Colony. It says training facility right there, but it's super serious. No more training. This is the real deal. This is the Overwatch League, and Boston Uprising with a pretty quick 2 points on their attack, 250 left in the time bank.
I mean, for a dude who just showed up a few days ago, Fusions is certainly showing up in the match.
No kidding.
It's been very impressive working with these teammates.
Absolutely, man. I mean, if they win this, he is definitely my MVP. Like I've been putting it down with the Reinhardt time after time. And this, you know, we talked about this with Boston, though. They seem to have a really keen insight in finding this talent that a lot of other people are overlooking.
Yeah, and of course you could ask a lot of questions about them giving up Gamsu a few days before the season begins.
It was surprising.
They are not really missing a beat here.
Yeah.
As they come into their first match of the Overwatch League. Very respectable time on Horizon with Nearly 3 minutes left in the time bank. XL, this is a classic.
Ooh.
Going back to the Sombra Tracer
I was gonna say.
Horizon attack. We saw a lot of this last season. The idea is that you're going to be flanking around. Oh, they're switching.
Oh, the tease. The tease is real. Come on. So, you know, there was a strategy before that was pretty common where you use the Summer and the Tracer to put pressure on the point, kind of split the defense and make them not sure where to go, but nope, we're going back to the 3-3s.
I think they didn't do it because they saw the Winston instead of the Reinhardt, which is easier to reposition for those flank attacks from the Tracer and Sombra. Now everybody, of course, just party on the surface of the moon.
Space, no one
not
can hear.
space.
You scream when JJONAK kills you. It is space. Well, it's kind of space.
In as much as being on the Earth is space.
It is a space. Not much atmosphere on the moon last time I checked. Last time I was there, Monty. Which was never, so I'm just assuming. Well, New York still finding their way onto the point here. Boston Uprising had to give a little bit of ground. And New York with an opportunity here, maybe. Boston waiting for it. They're taking the high ground. They want to drop down on this. That's exactly what they're going to do. 1 tick taken. Nearly 2 ticks by New York. Now's the time. Kelix jumping down to get a little bit of a move here. Mono tries to escape. He's getting low. They got to keep their Reinhardt alive. But JJONAK doesn't have the transcendence. It doesn't matter. He kills the tank on the other side. He's like, yeah, I don't need to heal my tank. I'll just kill theirs. Oh, all right. Transcendence to keep him low. He popped away, and Mono dies anyway. Oh, JJONAK. Sometimes your hubris makes you pay. They might be able to win this fight yet, but not having Mono's going to make it tough. And AimGod's taking out JJONAK's going to make it tougher. Boston Uprising, both teams having to use a lot of ultimates here.
Wow, they're really committing to this. I don't know about this one, Noah. That is not a good idea.
No, that Graviton surge, man, and the self-destruct, I don't know. You weren't going to get a lot out of that with what you had, and I think New York looked a little bit frantic on that one. Frankly, that reminded me of their attack on Numbani, actually. They looked a little bit disjointed. They looked desperate, which they don't need to be.
Yeah, they don't, and they haven't. Their attacks have been much weaker than their defenses. They had an opportunity there where Boston had used everything, all of their resources in that fight, and they could have just bounced back on this next attack and had an edge, but now everything's back up to even, basically, as no ults are on the table for either team.
All right, New York trying to come in again. They're going to maybe try for this high ground engage onto the point this time. Taking the position that Boston did on their defense in the last fight. Boston trying to match them on that high ground. Fusion's walking in. He's brave. Mono with the Zarya's shield, though, is going to be able to get a bit of damage done here, too. Looking at the ultimate charge, Mono much closer to that Earth Shadow than Fusion, but those Reinhardts build it fast. New York Excelsior dropping down right now. Support ultimates online on both sides, but New York's going to have 2 as opposed to Boston's 1 when the fight really begins here.
Axiom so close to that grab.
All right, Axiom with the kill and deliver early on, and whoa, Boston just steamrolling New York on this defense.
And they didn't even need it, Doa, thanks to Fusions again.
Yeah.
Laying the NYXL low. They're going to have a grab. Now, NYXL built up a lot of ults in that. Fusions found the opportunity, though.
Yeah, Fusions used 2 ultimates. They used the Earth Shatter, and they used the Transcendence to win that fight. NYXL just kind of accepting it, I think, after the Earth Shatter went down and saying, hey, we're going to have a lot coming into this. But they're down to 20 seconds on their attack. They need to win this fight. It is do or die for NYXL, or Boston takes the lead in this series.
Coming around, rotating to the point. Boston on the high ground.
The stakes are high. Mono needs to hit a big shatter. They want to win this one. Wait for it. Coming in, they're going to rely on the Graviton surge here. Self-destruct's coming in. Shadow comes down. Oh, but the sound barrier from Kelix came just in time, but it's not enough. And New York will take this point, winning the fight at the very last moment. So, gonna get the team kill, gonna get point A, and they're not gonna have quite as much time as Boston did on B, but they're gonna get there fast. 4 minutes in the time bank, they're rolling in with a self-destruct.
They're already starting to cap right now, forcing Boston to sprint out onto the point.
Yep, they're gonna try anyway. Here we go, Boston trying to match. Blase a little bit low, he has to take a break. Oh, Blase's down, Meko finds a kill. And that's a crucial one. New York with the advantage in the fight. AimGod uses that Transcendence early. And Meko throws in the self-destruct. Kind of optimistic there as Mono goes down. They wanted to get a lot more out of that fight. A little bit of trouble here as Boston striking back. And again, with those respawns coming so quick, you gotta wonder if Boston can hold on. And there goes Note. Meko and Nene kind of taking this fight in their hands and trying to carry it here, but it's still so close. Nene, look at this guy. This is one of their new pickups, and you can see why. What some say New York Black was a good Zarya, and they've got it now. Nene crushing that last fight.
Looked a bit risky when Nene threw out the Graviton, but he was charged enough that he could mow everybody down on the Boston Uprising, and a pin will keep the members of the Uprising off the point just to cap it out.
Man.
16 more seconds in the time bank for the NYXL, but otherwise a very close game.
That's insane, because it was such a slow point A. But then point B, you know, it's one of those fights where it really looked like Boston was going to swing it around. You know, they had the respawn advantage, they had the kills early on. Let's take a look at that last fight on point A that gave New York the opportunity to take B. Mano again, he's in a pretty good shatter, but the sound barrier came in to deny that self-destruct damage, but it didn't matter because there was enough damage otherwise.
Exactly.
They finished off.
Yeah, exactly. Like the sound barrier is great against that combo until the follow-up occurs.
Right.
And because of the Earth Shatter, they couldn't move after the self-destruct cleared off the sound barrier on their prone members. Then the rest of the damage is there. You've got the Reinhardt there. You've got the Zarya, the charged up Zarya, and you're still going to melt via that AoE.
Yeah. And here we go. Like you mentioned earlier, New York with just a little bit more in the time bank at 306 and Boston's 250. Boston on the attack again. They got it done in this situation on Numbani. Can they do it on Lunar Colony? Going with the same composition as before, as you might expect. Not even bothering with the Stormbringer Scout, I think, this time.
So the question is, will Boston go into the upper hallway again? Because they actually charged Mano's Primal Rage super fast by trying that last time.
I think they might just go, oh, they're going to the stairs again. I thought they might take the exterior route that New York did, but
Interesting.
they're going to try to go up the stairs. Yeah, Mano's looking for him. Yeah, there they are. Got that shield down, jumping in the middle of it. Look at how fast that ultimate's building for Mano. He's halfway there. That Primal Rage already. If he can stay alive, he's going to get it so quick, just farming the entire Boston team. But that primary fire, Nene down though. Fusions catches him with the charge, and now New York's gonna have to play this one carefully. No D-Mac, that's an opportunity. Fusion so low, can they keep alive? Oh, Primal Rage, here we go. Blase gets JJONAK though, and Mano has to jump onto the point to try to finish off Aim God, and it's not gonna work. Boston just charging up those stairs, looking New York Excelsior in the face and saying, hey man, this is our point.
And
Taking it.
The critical thing was they got Mano low, so he couldn't engage to actually help take the heat off of Nene.
Right.
So Nene dying, it was a poking game for the Boston Uprising. Get the main tank out of the way, get the Winston out of there, and then you can make that engage. They adapted their play compared to what we saw in that first push, and the Primal Rage just came too late, but that will be a bit of a slowdown there for the Boston Uprising.
They stepped on some of those potatoes on their way in, and that is something JJONAK can just not tolerate. It's like, no, we need those space potatoes to feed our
It's the only food
colony.
supply up there.
That's
so
right.
Have to respect it.
Make a lot of delicious things with potatoes. I don't know if Zenyatta eats anything. I kind of doubt it because he's a robot, but he still loves life, and that includes potatoes.
And there are plenty of hamsters to eat up there, so.
Yeah. Boiling that, sticking in this too. I mean, so much. Here we go. Boston Uprising has a lot of ultimates coming into this fight. New York on the defensive. Axiom still looking for that chance to the ground, throws it in. How many did he catch? 3 now. Self-destruct comes in for New York. Keep Boston at bay for the moment, and now they throw their own self-destruct in. No, looking for a few more. Doesn't get it. Meko gets him with a melee before he can remake. That's huge. Meanwhile, Liberum taken for a ride by Fusions. And New York in a little bit of trouble here. They've got to dig deep, man. They need to pick up some kills, and I don't think Meko in the mini diva form is going to do that. Nene down.
They gotta wait for these respawns right now. 2 supports and a mini diva are all they got up.
That's going to be it, man. Boston Uprising going to take this one. They're going to bring it up to 4 points on Lunar Colony. It's starting to look a lot like Numbani, isn't it?
It certainly is, and you know, Boston Uprising in these 3-3 mirrors, they are coming out on top.
They're looking
for
good.
the most part, just by a little bit, but that was enough to take Numbani, and now they've thrown the gauntlet down again and say, hey, you got to go through Horizon both points one more time to even have a chance of winning this game.
I mean, that man on your screen right now, Fusions, this guy's incredible. I mean, we know how good he was with the World Cup, but I don't think anyone expected him to perform this well so quickly against a team like NYXL. You can't ask that from a new player like Fusions is, but he is delivering.
Yeah, he certainly is, and You know, we can look at these statistics that he's put up. He's done 20% of his team's damage at 11,500. Mono here is sitting at 8,300 and only 14% of his team's damage. And what you really want in 3-3 is you want the Zarya and the Reinhardt to be outputting most of that team's damage.
Right. This NYXL, some of their other newcomers. Blase doing quite well as well on that Brigida. Axiom 2. Here we go. Boston Uprising on the defense as New York Excelsior tries to take that 3 minutes and 6 seconds and turn it into 2 more points. Tie up this map. Looks like they might be going with something very different this time.
The triple DPS.
They're going to stick with it though. Rolling out with the ball. Mono is there. Going to do some scouting with Meko, decide what they want to do. New York getting tricky here. Oh, all right. All right. Gonna go back to the standard.
They really don't want to do that when the Winston looks like it's being run, because
That's the thing, yeah.
I think they're rolling out with that, assuming that Fusions is going to be playing that Reinhardt, so they would have less mobility to react to the flanks.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right there. That was a test. Boston passing it. They're running that Winston. That's going to cost New York some time right away. Going to take the outside route again.
They did this before, but it takes so much time, Doa, because they have to set up here, then they're going to be trying to speed boost in to the point. This time they're going to stay on the high ground instead of rushing around the outside onto the point itself.
Indeed. Here we go. They're trying to get in. Ooh, they've got Note a little bit low here. They got the D-Mac on the Diva. That's a big one. That is a big pick for New York. Note a little bit out of position. He got punished. Boston trying to come back in again. Oh, stunned as he tries to charge out of it. That could be a problem, but Fusion's the one who's taken down. Blase does get the kill on the Mono, though. So New York bleeding a bit here, but JJONAK with the revenge on the Brigida on the other side. Dragging out yet again, and New York looking like they're in a pretty good spot to finish off point A here. So, despite the slow start, they made the appropriate composition changes. It was a right move to pay dividends.
Yeah, the question now is how hard can they snowball into point B? Luckily for Boston, Axiom did get a lot of charge, but Fusions had to reset. Mono also not getting too much of that Earth Shatter ready, so it's going to be about these support ultimates coming online. Boston not in bad shape. They're trailing New York by just a little bit, which means there's a very small timing window here for Excelsior to strike.
Yeah, this one's big. Going in now, Rally comes out on the New York side, trying to get a little bit extra armor for the fight. Libero does take down Fusion. The Reinhardt out of commission right away. Boston trying to cling to life with Angad on that Zenyatta, but his Transcendence runs out early. Nene doesn't even need the Graviton Surge here. He's going to be able to use it to handle the respawns, keep them away while they take the point. That's the hope. No D-Mac instantly here. Sound Barrier comes in a little bit late to save that Diva. Goodbye Fusions again. Animo claiming a couple kills himself, and New York was so ready for this fight, seemingly. The Hammond, the last-ditch, desperate attempt from Axiom, but the self-destruct gonna zone him out. That's an easy kill, and that's New York. Tying it up, 4-4. This is turning into quite the map.
And the only reason you could say maybe New York was able to push that so quickly was because Meko actually ate the Graviton Surge coming out of Axiom on the Boston Uprising. That could have been a much longer delay in favor of Boston. We're gonna check that out right here.
Watch that one again. Blink and you'll miss it, but check it out. Meko just ready right there.
Oh, he didn't even mean to do that. Sometimes you get lucky, though, you know?
When fate's with you, it's with you. What can you say?
Good job, Meko.
Fate's on a different team, actually. My bad.
When fate's with you, you are the Los Angeles Valley.
That's right. Yes. When Meka's eating grabs, it just helps you take point B on Horizon anyway.
Well, still
4-4.
Yeah, still really close game here. 24 seconds is all the clock advantage that the NYXL are going to have.
We saw some crazy maps towards the end of last year. We've seen like 7 to 6 on assault maps in the past, so it's not unprecedented. Elephant, rocket, rocket, ball. I feel like that's like a code word to activate a sleeper agent somewhere. Somewhere the Winter Soldier is woken up now that I've said that. Sorry.
I hope it activates the NYXL, though.
I think so, yeah.
They've looked like they've been struggling a bit in this meta, you have to say.
I think so. NYXL trying to take that high ground again, of course, and they've got Mono on the Winston this time. Boston ready to go. No scouting needed. They know what they want to do, and they know how they want to do it. 55 seconds. Less time in the time bank, of course. They only get what they had left over at the end of the last round. And here they go. Right side, and you can bet they're going to go up the stairs again. That's
exactly the same thing from both teams.
Yep. This is the optimal way. A lot of teams have chosen to come in here.
matter of how fast Mono can get that primal rage.
Yep. Uh-oh, getting stunned doesn't help. That brought Blase down though. Nene there to cover his main tank. And Boston's gonna get repelled. So just time for one more attack on Boston Uprising. And Boston has to be really careful. You saw New York chasing, looking for those last minute pickoffs, trying to make it a 5v6 situation. Here we go. 10 seconds. Do or die for Boston. Well,
do or draw.
Do or draw for Boston. Yeah, we'll see. They gotta try to get in there. Aim gone down though. And New York has some kills already. Boston gonna really struggle to try to take this one. Mono gets stuck, but he's got that primal rage, and New York seemed well equipped on the defense now to handle this one. Fusions just throws out that shield though. Kellick's able to use the sound barrier to buy a little bit more time, but that's gonna be about it. New York gonna keep Boston out and deny them a single tick on point A. New York in a prime position to take this map.
Absolutely they are. And when that first attack didn't work, Doa, it takes so much time to set up that composition. And they had to rush to the point on the second attack, which means that when you have a mobility advantage like Winston, they read that really well. Mono read it really well. They're going to be stretched out on the map. You're not going to see that Zenyatta necessarily be able to get to the point as quickly. Right. So why not use your mobility advantage to pick the supports off while they're making it, ignore what's happening on the point, jump back to the point and finish everybody else off. And that's what the New York Excelsior identified and executed on.
Yep, it's a situation that they've been in, countless times as a team, and something that they're really ready for. 4 points is what Boston's going to have to walk away with on Horizon Lunar Colony. They do still have a chance to force a draw if they can keep New York from taking any ticks themselves. And to be fair, Boston has looked good overall today, and New York only with 1:24 on the time bank, so only about 30 seconds longer than Boston had on their attack. Lunar Ops. Oh, because it's the moon.
Oh,
that's a clever name for a moon-based organization. Oh, what do you know?
Not quite as good as Space Force, but
it's no Space Force,
but it's okay. Lunar Ops is okay.
Yeah, that's right. This happens in the future. What happened to the Space Force? That's a real question. You need some new lore. New York on the attack. 1:24 to try to take one tick, just 1/3 of point A to win this map and take a lead in the series here.
They really...
The opening day of the Overwatch League.
I mean, they're going to see the Reinhardt this time, so this is going to test our theory whether it is the Reinhardt that prompts this composition.
Yeah.
So Sombra is there. Yep. Wait. Yep. They're gonna
again. Ooh, that's a bold move with just a minute left. Oh man. Mono. What about Hammond? Meko on the Sombra.
It's gonna be.
Are you serious?
Triple DPS with Zenyatta and Mercy. So here it goes. It turns out it was the Reinhardt that was the trigger.
This is a really bold move by New York, man, to throw this in here. Obviously, Libero, not a lot of long-range options to try to pick him out of the sky here. Aside from Aim God hitting some really well-timed orbs.
Hammond is back-capping the point right now, too. They have to go deal with it.
That's the thing, and as they pull back, that's going to give an open field for Libero to just rain death from above, as far as want to say. Mono finished off Blase with the melee as he backs away for that big health pack here. New York playing it so safe, but we're out of time here. 24 seconds. They got to get something done. Fusion's not getting hacked here. Got that shield in front of him just in time. Echo's still trying to do damage on the point. Remember, all that New York needs is just that one tick. They just have to muscle Boston out of there for just a limited time here. And Libero, again, no pressure at all on this Pharah. What do you do?
You can stand there and shoot rockets at you forever. How do you contest the point?
You gotta get in. If you're Boston right now, Mono taken out by Aim God, they are gonna be able to fight the 65. That's big. Nene throws in the pulse bomb. That's what it's called. No kills out of it, but Libero comes in with the D-back on the note. Fusions goes down as well. And now he's got the ultimate. Oh no, the traps. Oh, they're so close. New York, Animo goes through the reds and he can't do it. And are you kidding me? Boston with a real chance to get a draw on this one. New York with nobody left. They got us to say they can't do it. And Boston manages to get the draw.
That was a hell of an end to that match. New York NYXL had to keep the Hammond on the point alive because that was the only pressure they had. He was the big tank, and they couldn't do it.
Wow, what a series. Quick break. We got a map left. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this. And we are back, and what a series this has been between New York Excelsior and Boston Uprising. Tying in the first two maps, a tie in the map itself on Horizon Lunar Colony, and now we are going to go to our escort map to see who's going to take this series.
Yeah, I'm really impressed, especially with Boston's defenses on this last map. They've been so good. Even at time bank disadvantages on Numbani, on Horizon, they've been able to actually pull out either a win or a draw.
So do you think New York was playing it a little bit too risky as we look at our maps here, going for that composition when they had limited time, making that swap as we see Route 66 to our next map here?
No, I just think they played it badly.
Oh, okay.
is the answer. Like,
all right.
So first off, in the meta that I've seen develop, as I've observed scrims coming into this season, a lot of the times what you're going to see is if you're going to run the Mercy and the Wrecking Ball together, is you're going to just run it with a single support, and you'll probably play like a Widowmaker or Hanzo instead of the Zenyatta.
Right.
And you know that NYXL wants to run the Zen because of JJONAK.
Of course.
But sometimes it's just not as good. He doesn't provide as much value in terms of the long-range, consistent damage onto the point. And he's certainly not going to be in range to quickly trance over there and get the healing done. So I'm not as big of a fan of that style of composition. But yeah, so we are going to see some weird stuff here. To start, Route 66 has very strong sight lines, so we will see less 3-3 on point A and B of this map overall.
Love it. Here we go. The Widow Bastion Orisa shield. Animo boosting Nene on the side. New York with an interesting defense, and Boston Uprising perhaps going with a non-typical offense as well. Blase hovering on that Winston at the moment, or not the Winston, the Hammond there, trying to go in. Nene backs away, of course. You gotta break that. Yeah, I was gonna say, that's the thing with the Bastion is if the Hammond comes out, you can just jump right onto it. It's hard to break that. Animo coming in with the res. I'm surprised he actually got that off. And so, Libero lives to fight another day for the moment here. Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that. All right. It's time to make some changes, New York.
I mean, it's a great comp swap from the Boston Uprising.
Yeah.
If you have 3 high mobility tanks in Winston and Wrecking Ball and D.Va, you're going to be able just to jump on top of that position instantly.
That was a perfect anti-Bastion.
Yeah, I mean, but teams are going to be used to this. You're going to see a lot of these styles of compositions on defense here on Route 66. And if you can play a dive comp against it, that's where you're going to get some value.
Now, Meko is getting really close to that EMP, so New York actually has a chance to maybe get a decent hold here because that payload still hasn't finished going through point A yet. Oh, but Meko getting out just in time. Dangerous moment for the Sombra. Still not having that EMP, and now Mono down. New York on the back foot already. They lose both of their characters with shields. Very narrow group, but there it is. And JJONAK in trouble too. Yeah, Boston Uprising just grinding through New York. And that's going to be a quick point A for Boston.
Yes, but Meko's still alive with an EMP, and he is behind them currently. So this
They know he's back there
They
somewhere.
do know he's back there somewhere, and the D.Va's trying to find him right now.
Yeah.
So Note's off hunting for Sombras while they keep on pushing this formation forward. But
Oh, you hear those D.Va guns going non-stop. He's just swinging around,
It's like
trying to
spinning around in the back right now.
break him out of that stealth, that invisibility. That's right. Meko, though, still lurking in the back. Mason, yeah, there we go. Looking for aim god. Zenyatta super weak without those shields. They don't get the kill, though, but they do get fusions. So even a more juicy target. There goes Axiom. So now New York, they gave up a very quick point A, but they do have a pretty good spot to defend B now.
Yeah, they should be feeling at least a little bit more confident. Some concern, I think, because of the number of ultimates that Boston Uprising was able to gain via this faster switch to 3-3 after they broke the initial Bastion Orisa defense with that triple mobility tank.
Right. Here we go. NYXL. Find a bit of support in the high ground. They get caught in that Graviton Surge. Transcendence comes out for Boston. And Meko gets a couple here. New York finding some of those kills that they were looking for a little bit earlier. Meanwhile, that payload is not getting pushed at all as Boston have to take the fight way far away from the payload. And that's kind of what you want to do if you're New York too, right? You want to pull the fight away from the payload so they just can't push it.
I like how New York is going back to what worked in the control map, which is having Meko on the Sombra, not running a D.Va at all, and then using it to gimp the tank line of Boston Uprising. He's very seriously targeting Note and Fusions, and because Fusions has been making so many of the plays, it's actually doing a great work for them because it's preventing him from hitting those big shadows.
Right. Boston has seemed very reliant on that Reinhardt in this match.
Matt. They found Echo.
Yeah, they did pop him out of that inventory. There you go. They're just going to go ahead and throw that self-destruct in. Oh, man. Nice Earth Shatter, though, from Mano coming in to try to respond to that. And respond they did. EMP combined with Earth Shatter.
That was an emphatic response. The timing on that was nearly perfect there.
I mean, yeah, EMP, and then there's nobody to stop that Earth Shatter from coming in.
Yeah, and they knew the engage was coming too because the self-destruct was thrown out first. So very predictable read by the NYXL, because look at this. You see this coming in. You're not going to be concerned. There it is. Okay, EMP's already down.
The timing was...
You have time to get the shatter and to block the self-destruct. Really nicely played.
That's how Barry Promotions keeps Fusions up, lets him get the kill on the Libero. Nene throwing down that grab. They need more than this, though. Need a little bit more damage. They get aim got with a long-range fire strike here. Blase goes down, too. It looked like that grab might not have worked out, but they managed to find the damage in the end. There goes Fusions and Neko again on this Sombra. You guys are playing so good. This does feel like the missing piece of the puzzle for New York right now, doesn't it?
It really threw Boston for a loop in that first match, and it is doing it again. Without the tank line being as active for the Boston Uprising, they can't push forward very effectively or really gain any ground. And now NYXL is just taking over all the space in this game.
Right.
And they can't find Meko. And Meko's almost got another EMP, so good luck.
Elusive and lethal. That's what Neko is. Here they go, another EMP over the Transcendence, comes out early. AimGod predicting that one properly, and that's going to keep Boston in the fight. It really is on that Zenyatta sometimes to be aware of when that EMP is going to come out. He hit it perfectly.
Yeah, but you also got the Trance, so it's not a huge loss if you're the NYXL.
Hey, at least you pushed the payload a little bit. That's true. So they have been able to do so far. Fusion walking in, just wants to walk past it and get there.
There you go.
Whoa! Finish him up. No! JJONAK pinned to the door, and Fusions with 2 on his own, man. Oh, why not? Why not? Libero with that fire strike, and man, what a superstar Fusions is already in this first map.
He's really showing the kind of caliber of a player he is to come in with such little experience with these teammates and perform so well is something indeed.
He's got a lot of experience with the Reinhardt, and it looks like that's all that matters in this series. That's for sure.
Boston now going to be coming in. Meko still on the Sombra. They don't want to give it up, even though getting that extra tank here can be very valuable in the close quarters of Route 66 final point.
Yep. Here we go, Boston pushing forward. They want to take that fight. They are caught in the self-destruct. They're going to throw in the self-destruct as well. Fusions get to charge onto Libero here, and Boston in a good position to keep pushing forward. You can't go too aggressive with that fight because, again, we're into point C here. The respawns are really quick. So you take the pick, you let the other team back off, you just get more distance.
High price for the pick, though. Graviton and your self-destruct, so you're...
I suppose.
Boston is going to get some movement on the payload. If they can win another fight, they can push this one through, but very few tools to do it. Somebody's going to have to make a play here on the Uprising.
New York.
With EMP, that's going to be tough.
Coming in with the ult advantage right now. Meko coming in from behind. He wants to get that kill on the AimGod. There's the EMP, finishes AimGod off immediately. JJONAK, that gets the kill. Another one on the Bloods. Hey, JJONAK with 3. He's like, you EMP. I'll finish him off. I got it, man.
Set up on the opposite side of that EMP. No chance for AimGod to use the Transcendence.
With the accuracy that JJONAK has, too, if there's nothing stopping him from hitting you with those orbs, man, he will just wreck you. This is exactly what we're going to see. Look at that EMP. Yeah. There's nothing stopping him. It's the easiest thing in the world. It's a cakewalk for JJONAK. And the cake is your life. Going in again, Earth Shatter. Blase in a little bit of trouble for the sound barrier. Comes in for Boston. They're going to back New York away. Going to respond with that Graviton surge. Yamano does get the kill on the AimGod. So Boston struggling just a bit. Goodbye, Blase. They're going to have to back away now. Only 20 seconds remaining. Can Boston get a quick reset here? Oh man, if they can get a pick, if they can DMAC Note or something. I think Note escaped off to the side, trying to stay out of sight. If he got picked right there, they'd have to fight at 5v6, so he needed to stay alive. Smart move by Note.
I mean, it's going to be hard for them to even get to the payload at this point, though. They're going to have to charge straight at it.
That's right. They're going in with their volley. Fusions with the Earth Shatter. Takes people out. JJONAK drops that Transcendence. There's the EMP. They're dropped to the ground, though. Nice sound barrier for New York. All the ults coming online at just right time. And the Earth Shatter under the payload. It's going to seal the deal. And NYXL, they will stop Boston's progress right here. And that opens the door for New York to win this map.
I think the mistake Boston made on that last push was using both of their support ults, the Sound Barrier and the Trance, when the Earth Shatter came down from Mono.
Yeah.
It meant them that they were really vulnerable to the Graviton follow-up, and that was the biggest play we saw. Sometimes you just, these supports need to get a little bit better communication about who's ulting, because if not, you can really catch yourself unawares.
I mean, and Mecco has just been magnificent with these plays on Sombra. The EMPs, there he is on your screen right now, and that's something that I think is going to serve New York really well going forward. As long as we're in this meta, the ability for this team to play this style with the Sombra and play it so well, it's going to definitely be a major asset.
Yeah, it's really interesting because we haven't typically thought about Mecco as a player that really was all that great on things that weren't D.Va. His Zarya was not amazing, but his Sombra, as a D.Va player himself, I'm pretty sure he knows the most annoying times to get hacked as a D.Va.
That is true. And
he knows how to play the mind games of like spinning D.Va looking for the invisible Sombra.
You raise a great point, actually. That's a really interesting thing about having Mecco specifically play that Sombra is he's played the other side of that matchup so much, it kind of helps him know all the ins and outs of what he would be looking for if he was trying to fight against the Sombra.
Yeah, and he really is playing that matchup too, because his job is basically to shadow note in these games when he's playing on the Sombra. So it's been pretty good so far.
Sure has. Boston Uprising on the defense now. New York Excelsior with their turn to attack. Mono last minute switch over to that Reinhardt. Animo gonna check that cart with the Sonic Arrow, and it's a good thing too because that's exactly where Boston is hiding. Saw it go in there, and Boston's gonna have to retreat a little bit. New York, knowing that advanced defense was in place for Boston. Now the question is, can Mecco capitalize on this? He's in a position to hack Fusions. Oh, Fusion's turning just in case. He doesn't know where to point that shield, man. When there's damage coming in from both sides, it gets really tough. Mecco has to get out of there. Doing as much damage as he can. Note, it's just kind of his ult-charged battery now.
Just so annoying because he's getting the armor packs from the Brigitte too, so he's overhealed when he's trying to engage this D.Va.
Yeah. Very good. Mono down early though. Boston manages to grind out that tank kill, and New York has to pull back. It's irritating, but I feel like you're kind of okay with this because you're really just sort of waiting for the EMP anyway, aren't you?
It is, like you say, a bit of a waiting game. Mecco can get a lot of charge.
Less than I thought. Normally you would see the EMP online by now.
Especially with that Trance already up for Aim God.
Yeah. There we go. They get the Trance out of Aim God here. New York again just backing off, waiting out that ultimate. Playing it patiently, and that's going to be Mecco coming in. The Transcendence was used, and that means it's open season for that EMP to pave the way for a New York team might win. They're going to dedicate the grab to it too, just holding on to that Earth Shatter for now. They'll be able to save that one as Note gets demaxed and de-lifed. And it looks like Brigitte's just going to take a ride on the payload, I guess.
Aim God, it's all of that mind game between the Zenyatta and the Sombra.
It really is,
Aim God tried to guess that the EMP was already online, that Mecco was trying to use it. Instead, he baits it out, then they disengage, wait for the Transcendence to end, and that's where they strike back with a big EMP.
It's the agony of the Zenyatta player. If you mistime your ult versus like the Genji Blade or the EMP, you're like, oh man, I'm the worst player ever. I feel you, man. I feel that pain.
It's okay for Boston, though, because they still have this grab, so they do have tools, and since the payload was stopped so far back, they have an option to defend.
Grab that from Boston. Going to try to pair that with the self-destruct. Just laid low by a charge, countering his way. Oh! Canceled during the ultimate fusions. Or rather, Sun, yeah, either way, that Earth Shatter didn't get to do a whole lot. New York still looking okay on this attack, and Mecco even getting to save his EMP. Whoa.
And Mono there with the counter shatter while they were grabbed was the real hero, because by stopping the charge from fusions, it means that he could turn his shield to block the self-destruct. And that was really quite clutch. It's just going to be a ball of pretty effects, but right there it was the shatter that really made the difference, and then the actual boop off of the shatter later on, or the stun off the shatter later on to stop fusion. Very well played by the XL.
This raspberry jelly out, it looked like. Let's throw that in his armor. EMP again from Mecco in the behind. They turn so fast on him. It saves Aim God, but still so many people hack, and New York can just keep pushing forward.
I mean, he hacked 6 people.
Yeah. What more can you add? Oh, and there's a nice Earth Shatter coming in from Mono. And that's going to be GG on that fight. You know, I like that Boston was so ready to turn and protect their Zenyatta. As a Zenyatta player, that made me feel all warm inside. But at the same time, if you're turning to protect your Zenyatta, you've got the whole other enemy team behind you. So, you know, it's kind of a catch-22, a Sophie's choice. That's not a good thing.
So now we're going to see Boston coming back in. Transcendence up and available. Still going to be a little bit tricky for them to approach the payload.
Here we go. Libero with the rally. As Mono gets low, it's not enough that he needed more. Him God finishes him off, and as Animo falls as well, New York gonna back away, save the rest of those ultimates. They're gonna have a couple of views.
It was kind of weird, actually.
That was a strange fight, wasn't it?
I'm really surprised that with both Sound Barrier and Trance up, NYXL let Mono die like that. They were trying to be conservative with their ultimates and just use the rally, but Boston just approached the tank and...
Well, they just had that rally, and sometimes, I mean, if the other team focuses your tank well enough, and your supports aren't ready, if the harm from the orb is not him, I mean, when it comes down to it, there's not a lot of direct healing. Surge comes in, Sound Barrier just in time, Nene responds to the kill on the kill, so Fusion with another big Earth Shatter. Trying to chain that into a kill on the Libero. Meanwhile, Fusion's getting a little bit low, gets healed here by AIM because EMP, but there's Becco again. The Trance comes out first, and that means it is the golden age of EMPs for Mecco.
The golden age.
The golden age of EMPs.
Truly the Pax
We're in a golden age.
The Pax Romana of EMPs.
That's right.
There,
366. Overwatch history. The golden age of EMPs.
Speaking of the golden age of EMPs, it will result in them taking point B here as the fireworks slowly subside. Everybody using everything except for Calyx there, chilling out with his Sound Barrier.
Indeed. So, New York, just a bit farther to push to win this match. 2:40 on the clock. All they got to do is get it just 1 meter farther than where Boston pushed their payload to. They can end this thing. A win on both sides and then a tie. So that means it could end right here. Axiom very close to that Graviton Surge though.
Very charged up though, that's the scary part.
He's got a lot of damage on that Zarya. There we go, Graviton Surge coming in. All right. Where's the follow-up? It's a Graviton Surge for New York. They're going to go ahead and use the Sound Barrier on the bottom side. That's going to open up a big Earth Shatter for New York. Another couple of kills coming in. Note, able to melee Mono to death here. Mecco still coming back with those hacks from on high. No one there to defend against him. And although New York didn't kind of win that in the most clean fashion ever, they still won it.
I mean, they still have Sound Barrier, they still have EMP. They are set up to win, Doa.
They sure are.
Really, this map has shown Mono's counter shatters have been a thing of beauty. Really.
I think it seems like they've kind of downloaded fusions at this point, and there's no better time to do that. EMP again coming in. It's a lot of people here. Fusions drop instantly. AimGod still gets the Transcendence off. It's their saving grace, perhaps, but that payload is so close. There goes Calyx, another big Sound Barrier from New York, and that's going to be it. NYXL, it was a tough road, but they made it. They will take this match.
And when they use that Sombra, oh boy, did they look a lot better.
Oh, no kidding. It was a night and day difference. You know, with the standard 3-3 versus 3-3, you gotta say Boston could really contest New York with that. But yeah, when it came to Mecco, when it came to putting in that Sombra, very big difference in terms of results there. Great play from Sombra on that New York side.
And, you know, let's talk about what it means to be a great 3-3 team in this meta. You know, it is the bread and butter. There is no doubt that you must have a solid base of 3-3 to play with. But the thing is, even though you'll always, at some point, be playing 3-3 on any given map, having a few extra tricks while still being competent at 3-3 is going to differentiate teams as we head through this first stage of the Overwatch League. I think we saw that with the NYXL.
Well, that's the thing. It's been this big triple tank, triple support meta that's pretty much existed since the end of Overwatch League last season, and we've gotten to the point in that meta now where it's just not good enough to beat a team that's just good at 3-3. You have to be good at 3-3 and, right?
Yep.
You have to be able to add that extra strategy on. You have to be able to add those extra compositions, those little changes, like putting the Sombra in that's going to push your